Hello there. It's a paranoid day in the neighborhood. A wonderful day for debunking. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? No masters, no gods in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for resistance. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? My comrade. I have always wanted a neighbor just like you to do all the things revolutionaries do. So, unlocking the truth on this wonderful day. And since we're together, might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? My comrade. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? My comrade. Welcome to, folks, Delinquent Studios presentation of Mr. Williams' Neighborhood on Mainframe Media, of course. I am your host, also known as H. Will, but also known as Mr. Williams, here as an homage to the great and legendary Mr. Fred Rogers. Thank you so much for those in the future who will listen. Thank you so much in advance for those who may decide to listen and watch live. I mean, out here again, folks. Let's see. Let's check out. Hey, might do with some watering soon. But welcome again, folks. I like to this day, Mr. Williams' Neighborhood is going to be sort of an opener for things that are going to happen today. And if you've seen the little Easter egg that I posted right at the beginning, I showed you, of course, the book Behold a Pale Horse from William Cooper, which I hope does allude to you that another episode of the Cooper Matrix will be coming up today. And also today we're going to bring back. We're going to do a little special. After long last, we're going to have, of course, the Night Owl Lounge coming back. Of course, that will be, once again, that will be a Delinquent Studios presentation, but of course on Mainframe Media. And on this occasion, it'll be what I will call, of course, I started doing a studio spotlight. It was more of a reflection of looking back on, groups that have been an influence in my life, such as the Born Naturals. Also, somebody who I could consider colleagues as I was starting to get my legs under and get more experience in the industry here with Legal Money Entertainment. I definitely wanted to put a spotlight on them and also maybe serve as a cautionary message to those out there. If you feel like somebody's bringing their A game and they're really, showing some potential, support them. Because the only way you get more attention brought to your city, your state, is if you show that there's talent out here. Talent shouldn't have to go someplace else and, get on and then sort of represent themselves in that particular area, in a way. I just, it just helps. But now I want to start getting into more of I want to get more into the relevant times. I hate to say that because to me, Born Naturals is still relevant, but we just have to try to move forward, try to show and lead by example by supporting the local talent and so forth that are out here now trying to do their thing. And I think that'll be the best way to go about it. So we'll start doing studio spotlights, but I'll be doing a special studio spotlight during the Night Owl Lounge. Because a lot of times over, excuse me, a lot of times over these shows, it's been dominated with, comedians, social critics and things like that over time that I've featured on the Night Owl Lounge. Rarely have I posted any other mode of entertainment or media to sort of, give it a little bit of a range. And of course, I'm still working on getting the poker, the online poker, the online blackjack, even some online Monopoly if possible. I'm still trying to get those things arranged. They just take time. And I'm hoping that I can get together a good group of people the way this could really be fun and this could really be substantial at the same time. I like having that kind of balance, honestly. I like having the balance of substantial conversation and things of this nature. Oh, life is calling, folks. Give me a moment. Hello? How's it going, man? No, actually, I'm just at the house at the moment. Um, Probably not. What time are we talking? Okay. What I'll need to do at this point is because at this time my wife is at work, and so I'll be checking to see what time she'll be looking to get off, and basically coordinate with you on that while I'm doing that and checking her for that. I'll also check into how much that would be based on a fair basis, to get there and whatnot, and I'll just go over those terms with you. I'll probably give me a few minutes, and I can give me about an hour or so, and I can probably call you back now. All right, no problem. So I'll definitely get researching on the information and confirming on some things, and I'll get back with you on that definitely. All right, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Although, like I said, I'll definitely give a shout at calling you. No, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, it's no big deal. All right. Well, folks, that's life calling sometimes. When you're a hired gun out there, you got to make your money. And so, not actually a hired gun. I'm certainly not, putting I'm a hit, right on, what I'm saying, right on a live stream on YouTube for people to see. That's not what's going on here. I just meant that as a term, just a, what I'm saying, just a phrase that's loosely used to mean, hey, somebody needs my help. I'm offering my services and things like that. And, for a nominal fee, you know how that goes. So, hmm, now maybe that sounds weird too, but I don't, hey, pal, come on. But anyway, now, the point that I was trying to make is that while I'm working on all those things, I will be trying to vary up what I do on the Night Owl Lounge, and I'll start with doing a little bit more of a studio. I'll meld the studio spotlight into the Night Owl Lounge a little bit every once in a while. So when I want to really I'm up late at night, hanging out, doing what the grown-ups do when we're lounging, when we're lamping out here. I'll put out a I'll do a studio spotlight. and I'll basically try to either play some videos if possible. I try to do musicians, do some videos if possible on some of their content. If not just if not videos, then we'll just do some audio and work it in that way. We're thinking about more someone who's a host or, host, maybe even you know what? That's what we'll do. We'll review the influence of Howard Stern, you know, and examine on the Night Owl Lounge one day, you know, how Howard Stern, negative or positive, whatever you want to say, but how his influence in the world of media, radio, and so forth, how that has affected things, how it's changed things. Did people, did certain people who got in trouble recently for the things that they've had to say on air, radio, internet, whatever, did they do that feeling like they could do that because of what Howard Stern was doing? I just don't think he was doing that. I think that, you know, I mean, I definitely want to prepare some statements, and I definitely want to save a little bit if we're going to do that particular show. But I definitely just feel like that Howard Stern was more about, a sense of humor and celebrating and things like that. You know, he always said he loved lesbians. He supported women being together, if not for his own sexual pleasure behind it. And I get that people think that that's what the main scheme behind all of it is that he loves the fact that women are together because he likes seeing that sort of perverse thing, you know. And so, okay, fine, but the fact of the matter is he's still not someone that's acting like it's wrong, it's a sin, it's this or it's that. And so we'll definitely get more into it. We'll definitely look at some clips, look at some shows, and just try to see and just try to analyze, But the special beginning to the, studio spotlight episode, because being that we're melding, of course, Delinquent Studios and Mainframe Media a little bit with the content. Normally, the studio spotlight would be over Delinquent Studios, hence the name Studio Spotlight. It'll be more hip hop based over there, but maybe there could be more of a studio spotlight here on this side. And, and maybe that way we can highlight, because Mainframe Magazine is a magazine that highlights hip hop, real rock, real, even some pop that we can enjoy, that we really feel like, holds a place and really does something, really has an effect. We definitely want to, to give them, some props. But I just want to, Mainframe Magazine is about encompassing all ranges of music, that we grew with, that we have respect for. Is not all because, and instantly you will see with me and think that, oh, it's hip hop with him, rap music, he likes this, he likes that. No. In fact, for a long time, I'm a big fan of Metallica, although I felt like Metallica really, really started to show their age, with the whole Napster thing. I can understand them being super pissed about that. But I think if Metallica, I feel like this, if Metallica would have went and just talked to the guys from Napster and maybe worked out something, to where people can feel like, to where at least they can feel like, what, we can work this out to where we're not being completely cut out of our own music, our own works and contents that we're creating. We're not being completely worked out of that. But at the same time, kids are feeling like they don't have to deal with the whole, there's a particular song that they love. Like, they can go onto the internet and simply get that song, for a couple of dollars or more, download that. And they've got at least a couple of Metallica tracks that they really want to get. You're still making money. If they had I think if they had to talk and work that out long before it actually worked out to that degree, I think it'd have been real. I think it wouldn't have been so devastating for Napster. And at the same time, it wouldn't have made Metallica look so uncool. I think that's the thing that people just need to understand more than anything. It would have made them look so uncool. It made them look so uncool to do that and to not maybe do it the other way. But, excuse me. But basically, Metallica for a lot of years, Avenged Sevenfold. I was, and some people often want to call Avenged Sevenfold like a second-rate Guns N' Roses. I fucking disagree with that. Couldn't disagree with that more. I've had debates. I've stood up for, for Avenged Sevenfold. Guns N' Roses is disappointing. Really disappointing. They could have been someplace the way you wouldn't even have to search. They would have been on another stratosphere to where you wouldn't even try to compare them to, because they had such that meteoric rise with their albums that people were afraid. So now it was like, let's keep them because people starting to feel a way about them where they're rising above Guns N' Roses. And the whole thing that you have to understand is that metal, real rock, metal music, punk, and things like that, it's tolerated. We all, people in my circle, people in the circles that I run in, we all agree with this, that in the grand scheme of music in the industry, like punk rock, metal, and variations of metal and rock, hip hop, tolerated. Kendrick Lamar, tolerated. Ozzy Osbourne, at certain points, they tried to celebrate him. They celebrated him more when he was in his most troubled, rather than when he was coming out with War Pigs and other songs like that. He wasn't as celebrated. Judas Priest, tolerated. At one time, Sex Pistols, tolerated. System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine, tolerated. Slipknot, tolerated. Time after time, Public Enemy, tolerated. Just happens. KRS-One, tolerated. There's a thing between toleration, between being tolerated and being celebrated. There's a big difference. But at any rate, we can keep going into all of that. The point I want to make is, folks, is that much like the person that I'm inspired by, Mr. Fred Rogers, I am a person who believes in accepting people. I've always grown up that way. I think, and a lot of times in my life, I think where, my mother decided to raise us, I think in a way, honestly, I have to be honest. I think it was more of a situation where, I don't know if it quite happened that way, because I felt like we had friends that were not Black. We'll just put it that way, because there were different races of people that we knew living in that apartment complex that we lived in Midtown Newport News. And I can't say those people moved the way they moved on. They did things. I don't think it was a thing of, if it was a thing of moving away because it was starting to become predominantly Black, and they wanted to move away from that, I couldn't say. Because I never felt once in my life that they ever felt about me that I wasn't welcome or anything. And I think that showed me a lot. That showed me a lot about people that showed me a lot about people that didn't quite look like me, that I always wasn't sure about was there. And to know someone and, they allow you in their home, they allow you to help, to help them, with things and feeling that kind of comfort, the way you're in the house, you're watching TV and things like that, that teaches you a lot. So when you see someone like Mr. Rogers and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he says the things that he says, and he accepts all people and things like that. And it's one thing to have that guy as your hero and to and to love that guy, but then to also go out into the world and see that other people are like that as well, that they accept you, that they're not afraid or intimidated or hate you because you don't look like them. And you feel a sense of community with those people, then it really starts to reinforce, what it is that you're watching on TV. And it's like, yeah, I can do the same thing. If he's saying it and he's saying it's cool, and he knows people that look like me and he's cool with them, and I know people out here that doesn't look like me and they're cool with me, then I should be cool with them, and that should be, a great, and that's a great thing. It's a positive thing. And so, I definitely, always wanted to foster, you know, that's somebody who taught me that. Also, when it came to music, also when it came to music, the OJs, a soul, a classic throwback soul group that my mom would love, dreamed about running away with the lead singer of the OJs. From what I was told, like many women did. I'm pretty sure. Um, that with a song. One song that I used to hear all the time when I was really young was "I Love Music," and it was a song that taught a lesson of any music out there that that moves you, that grooves you. Love that music. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be music done by people that look just like you. If you like that music, if you like the way it sounds, if you like the way it's going, then you gravitate to that music. And that was a great lesson to be taught as well. And that helped me to open myself up to a lot more of the MTV culture when I was coming up in the 80s as a kid. You know, to come up and then into the 90s, to start moving on my way to becoming a teenager in the mid 90s, and just doing my thing. It's just like, you start realizing, at that point that that regardless of your neighborhood and where you live and where you seem to feel most comfortable, you definitely realize that things wasn't as closed off as people would like to act like it was. And I think that becomes the best, best indicator that you have to be part of the new part of this world that helps usher in more of a unity, that gets rid of this race war that keeps dividing people, otherwise intelligent people. I think that it's time to kind of move beyond that, if possible. But I'm rambling. The whole point of everything that I've been saying is that the new Night Owl Lounge will feature and start out with a special spotlight edition that will feature, of course, our sponsor, you know, collaborative, creative partner here, 7 Day. And of course, for those of you who are wondering about, what 7 Day does, I mean, what doesn't he do? Much like myself, what doesn't he do? He does, he's a producer, he's an engineer, he's a writer, an MC. He's definitely someone who has a lot to offer the industry. And so, and if you go on his website, 7dayisland.com, you will definitely see the wide range of what I'm speaking about. Trust me on that. And if you specify and go to 7dayisland.com/beats, you will also see the great, I would say almost steel like prices if you want to go out there and gain some beats that will stand alone, that will help you stand out beyond everyone else, because you'll have some beats that very few people are able to get their hands on, especially at an affordable rate. And here we go, folks. We got this one just a day ago. Let's get that circulating, folks. Just a little sample out there, folks. We can give you a little bit more. Let's go. That's 7dayisland.com. 7dayisland.com /beats. Now, of course, folks, we don't want to push too hard on this because we still got a vibe out today as we're going to be doing the Delinquent podcast pretty soon. It's going to be a busy day, folks. So I don't even know if we might even just stop this one and just keep on, but who knows? We just may start bleeding from one show to the other, but who knows? Just kidding. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But at the very least, folks, we're going to take a moment or two to see. Let's see if there's any neat projects that we can do today from the letters that we wrote, from the letters that I read to you before from the ABCs of Anarchy. Let's see. Let's see. DIY. Let's see. We did that. Okay. Now, this is a very good question. Very interesting topic that I did want to bring up that does still connect to some of these things here. Now, the one question that was asked while reading the letter E for egalitarian, because in an egalitarian system, all people have equal access or opportunity to power and resources. All people. That means male and female. That means it's not a regime change. That's not okay, men have dominated for so long, now it's our turn to dominate in an egalitarian society. So if you're not, so let me put it to you like this: if anarchy, if the word anarchy and being under anarchist society makes you shudder on the inside, then maybe you should think about an egalitarian society, where still, because like it or not, Black bloc anarchists believe in three components: common ground, solidarity, common ground, and equality. Those are the three main principles of anarchy. Is that solidarity means, hey, we show support in all with all people, not just with the people who look like us, not just with the people who think like us, but show solidarity still towards those people out there who struggle every day in the system and who may be still confused. Still show solidarity and support to them in the hopes that they can move forward and do the things that they need to do and do what's best for themselves. We also show to show common ground. That means common ground between males and females, between between the older and younger generation, adults, teens. Common ground meaning doesn't always mean you're viewed the same way, because responsibilities are different. But common ground simply means that we have an understanding of where the other person is coming from. It's not that, and you truly show that you care about where the other person is coming from. you know Gay or straight, you know LBGTQ community, all of that, you know showing that we have a common ground, that we have an understanding of each other. These are the things that become important in this life. Please understand that. Paranoid dating neighborhood, folks, as always, you hear it in the theme song. Sometimes you got to look out in the neighborhood and see what's going on out there. But anyway, so the point that I was trying to make, and also about, and in that question, one of the questions that were asked in that is that why might someone want to have more power than someone else? Because they are the same greedy people. And if we want to put that into more specific tone, why would females who feel like, the oppression and the wrongs that were committed against me and are committed against women all over the world are wrong and incorrect, and we should not be treated this way, and why would they want to then turn around and treat someone else with the same indignity? Because they are not a person who thinks that that act is wrong. They think that the act being committed upon them is wrong. And that's not an equal society, in my opinion. If it's wrong, it's not just wrong for one particular group, or we've had enough, now it's your turn. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. And I think that's the thing that I was watching a show. I'm not big on reality shows overall, but as a person who is, as you can see, very tattooed, very tattooed in my range here, as someone who is that, I definitely watch the tattoo shows every once in a while. So Black Ink Crew is one of the shows that I do watch, and there's a new show that came up, and this girl that really makes a big reference to being in a cult and the way that she felt like the women were dominated and oppressed and manipulated by the men in the cult, and how she carries that out into every seeming misstep by a male is seen as misogynistic. And let's be clear on what misogyny is. Misogyny is a fear or hatred of women. Now, to understand what fear and hatred is really about, you really have to understand that someone really hates you is what's being done or said in that moment really about the hatred of a woman, or is it maybe about some chauvinism? There is such a thing as male chauvinism, such as female chauvinism. It happens both ways, but there is such a thing, where men think that women should be controlled or put in check. And I think that that's the thing that becomes, definitely, it's not iffy. It definitely becomes a thing where it crosses the lines there. It crosses the line as far as gender roles and respect and things of that nature. Honestly, I feel like if you want to break down the situation, it was a situation where members of this upcoming shop that was being opened were out at the beach hanging out together. It's sort of a team thing. Pregnant girlfriend of one of the guys that was there decided to come out because she was hearing about a girl that she didn't know that her boyfriend was friends with, until it was mentioned to her that he had brought her in as recommended her to be part of the shop as a tattoo artist. Things got upset, and then there was a conversation between the guys about you keep your girl in check and not have her popping up here. You can't be doing stuff like that. Now, we break that down. I think to kind of have that conversation and end it, I think the solution to that situation simply is to let her know, hey, I'm going, of course. Now, if you had this friend that you hadn't seen that you don't talk to, I mean, if you're going to be talking to her, if you're going to be bringing her, mention it. You're going to be doing something with the team, hanging out at the beach, mention it. So that the person can feel like you're not just hiding things and going to places and things like that. It's a respect thing. It's an equality thing. I think that most guys will want that from their partner, much the way, much the way they would expect that from, so I mean, why not give that to somebody else? I think that's a simple way. Communicate, it's done. She made a thing about hearing that, and all of a sudden it's misogynistic. When the guys thought it would be a joke to spray her with a water gun, she got upset about that and walked off. And all of a sudden, we flash to another scene where one of the guys goes in and comes and talks to her and tries to figure out what happened and try to explain and maybe, make amends. And she's in this place where she's around a bunch of other women. They're stripping, they're doing this because of course, as we all know, a woman, a woman can appreciate, only a woman can appreciate another woman truly the way they should be appreciated. And then you realize that she's a dominatrix. Now, here's an interesting thing for me. The dominatrix thing is in its way. Okay, on the surface, definitely is voluntary, but I do think it's manipulation. It's manipulating the guy who wants to believe, or maybe who fronts to other people, that he has it all together. But at home, he's dominated in a way. That's usually a story. If you chronicle a lot of movies where guys are into being dominated like that, it's usually the kind of story where the guy is dominated by women, but in a way that makes him feel emasculated. But to be dominated in that way, but also to be sexually pleased, I think it's a very manipulative way of that situation. But also, it's not in its own way sexual for her. It's a way of being able to sort of strike back at men by making them think, oh yeah, we're going to be sexual. This thing is going to lead to something, and it probably doesn't. It's mainly about the domination. It's mainly about the punishment. It's mainly about the humiliation. It's mainly about that. And so I truly feel that in the midst of that, I just feel like that there's a disconnect where, it's okay for you to feel like that thing you want to do. Oh, but he's agreeing to it. They're not. You're not. I mean, it's weird. That's why when people see, you have to understand that what you mean when you say manipulation. When you say manipulation, manipulation is different from hostage, prisoner. You understand? And people will put, oh, well, they're a prisoner of the mind. They're imprisoning their mind by through manipulation. I get that, but manipulation is still a mental game. And so, and I know we're going a little adult here, folks, but you know, this is an anarchist homage to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So this is not truly a kid show, but it is a little bit more cleaned up than usual because it's still an homage to Mr. Rogers, and I still want to be able to, pay him that respect. So, but I'm all about equality, and this is about equality and about having equal access to power, and having equal access to, even a sense of humor. I say one of the last bastions of humor in this world, honestly, is making fun of guys, and also one of heavy critique. That's why it's always a conversation of, what women have to bring. This is how we're being, and again, a lot of it is true, but still. And while you have commercials where there are big guys, there are girls that love slim women. I mean, but are there certain guys that are being looked at as like Ross? You know what I'm saying? I will give credit in that respect to the Rick Rosses of the world. The Rick Rosses, the Heavy D, Big Pun, Fat Joe. I will give credit to those guys, for being the kind of guys that, hey, I'm big, but I can still get out here and get women. I don't have to be with a bigger woman, what I'm saying, and things like that. E40, what I'm saying? And I can be a bigger guy and still get women. But I think where it's lacking is in, commercials, the way guys, what I'm saying, look. I think that there are good looking guys who are bigger, who are stockier. They're not just fat and sloppy, they're stocky. And they look good. They can attract women. They're just not sitting here with washboard abs and things like that. They can be, they can be put in some of these commercials and be looked at and be seen as sexy and be seen as something, not a joke. They're trying to act like we accept it, but we still accept it in a way of having a sense of humor. Like in that one Mint Mobile commercial, the guy's coming out there in Speedos or whatever, and he's just moving around and doing all this. He's got this fucking stomach. I mean, it's just, but it's joking. It's a sense of humor, and we all think, well, it's acceptance. That's not acceptance because you wouldn't make fun, because you wouldn't have a woman putting herself out there like that. It's more of this intimate setting. Oh, I'm proud of my curves, and I'm, what I'm saying. It's more about this thing of being above it all and being connected to ourselves and so on and so forth. And I get that, but I think that equality. I think when we truly talk about equality and truly talk about feminism, which is equal standing between both sexes, in society. I think that's where we have to really understand what feminism is. And, being accepting of bigger males, saying that, and that's one challenge that I will put out there. And I will even say that about, like, take Redman, for example. Redman, for example, and some other guys, they will do that. They will say, Redman, there's a video of Redman out there. I believe the I'll Be That, it's a video from a while back where he had, what I'm saying, a bunch of plus size girls in the video as his dancers and whatnot. It's just, big boy. And I like the way you move. He has some, what I'm saying, he has some, what I'm saying, big, beautiful women in, in his videos, and even had a line for him in the video, what I'm saying, even had a line for him in the song. That just shows again that, a guy who's not big can still say, hey man, some of these girls out here that are big are cute. I like them, what I'm saying, all good. I still haven't seen women saying that. That is all good for them. Show, you know what I'm saying? Show a video where you can be a big woman or not a big woman and have a dude that's not muscle bound in your video. But that's your preference, right? You're not obligated. You're not going to make yourself obligated. And I think that's equality. You shouldn't be obligated. No one should be obligated to like a certain type of person if that's not their preference. But some people who have that preference, they like that. They go for that. It's not all big guys in those strip clubs where some of these bigger women are dancing. Some of those guys are slim and they like that. But I don't know if there's any male reviews out there. There are male dancers out there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if there's any male reviews out there where a guy is bigger and women like to see that. I'm just saying, on an equality standpoint, let's think about that. I just really want to think about that one. But let's see here. And I think that's where it comes in, folks. It just kind of connects back to equality. And also what we think is masculine or feminine in certain situations. I think when we talk about equality in certain, certain stretches and things, I mean, where, where does it stop? Is the male gender role to be the provider of the household? Is that the way it's supposed to be? And why would a quote unquote male dominated society, want to fight so hard to keep it exactly that way? You mean to tell me that men are so afraid of women gaining power and independence that they would rather break their backs working 2 and 3 jobs that they hate so that the woman can be at home and be under their control? I mean, I'm just not so sure about that. See, that's where I feel like that once we break down some of these divisions that have held us for so long, folks, I think it starts to make less sense when we really think about it. I think it has to. I think we really have to start breaking down that if we really thought about it, like, it's just a way to divide us. You know, why wouldn't you want to make your life easier in these situations by saying, hey, if you want to go out there and work and have a job, when men in droves had to go out to war and fight the world war, women, it was not even a choice. They had to step up and work. They had to step up and work to preserve the workforce, to preserve the economy, because so many of those men out there that was workers now being sent out to war because, again, gender inequality says that all men have to go out there and fight these wars and put their lives on the line and die for the preservation of society. When there were women out there just as willing to go out there and lay their lives on the line, although I still say, as an anarchist, that no one should have to risk their lives and die and put it on the line unless they have a vested interest in what's going on. If you have a vested interest in why this war is happening, then you should have way more involvement than somebody who really does not have a true understanding of why this war is happening. Seriously. When you know there are lies being told, when you know there are things being done behind the scenes that some other people are not privy to, and yet you're asking them to put themselves on the line because of economic barriers and things like that, to put themselves on the line for that? No. So while I do applaud and I do have to condone the willingness of women to be on the front lines and to put themselves and their lives at risk, so to go out there and fight these wars, I would rather that no gender be out there unless they have a vested interest and unless they know that what they're doing out there has purpose. But that's kind of where I'm at on that, folks. I mean, it becomes an equality thing. But let's just see where we are here. Okay, and Liberation Front. I do believe in that. I believe, and to kind of bring something else aboard here, liberation front. The one I'm trying to strike up is a liberation front between. I mean, as an anarchist, I feel like that I am definitely put myself out there as a subscriber to liberation front with various races as and genders as well. But I'm also individually as a black male, as an African American male, whatever you want to call me, stolen African, whatever. That I'm also trying to strike up a liberation front with women as a whole, but mainly, of course, African American women, but also, what I'm saying, also minority women as well, because there are women all over this world that are being treated as true second class citizens, you know, plucked out of their family. Sometimes it's 12, 13, 14 years old, being married off to a man who's more than twice her age, to be controlled, to be molded, in a way that allows her to be, to never really have her own identity. You're molded and dominated by your father, while your mother, who's been molded before you, sits there and allows it. Then for either money or whatever, status, whatever, basically ships you off before you even have a chance to even live your life as an individual to someone else, where they can control you and mold you as you become an adult. It's just, I'm ready to form fronts with these to liberate them. I've been about, women and the equality of men. I think I've broken that down. And as a writer, I want to start creating movies that foster that, more of that. And if you don't know what kind of movies back in the day when I was coming up fostered a lot of that, it was Alien and it was The Terminator. And the common thread in those two movies were female leads who became a badass, constant, you know, in the movie. As far as the movie goes, maybe not so much with Sarah Connor, because she was in Terminator 1, she was in Terminator 2, she would come back eventually, but it was more of a situation. But her lineage or her son and things like that, what she taught him eventually, so on and so forth, that's what made her more in her way a constant. And is with Ripley in the Alien movies, the Alien installments, the common thread between those two women was Michael Biehn, who played Reese in The Terminator and who played Hicks in Alien. What he was that badass guy that came along, when they were still, trying to figure things out. He came along and became that person, and became that person who she survived the traumatic experience in Alien. That one alien, wreaked havoc. So she basically was trying to recover, trying to figure situations out, was came part of this mission. All along comes Hicks, who shows her, who basically helps her along become that badass. He sacrifices himself eventually so that she survives and moves forward to become that badass in the installments. Same way he did for Sarah Connor and the Terminator. He came along, he became the father, because the thing, real quick, let's get done with the whole mind fuck of the situation. Would he have sent? Would he have sent? Reese, if he had known that he would become his father? The thing of the matter is that nothing would stop him from coming along. The difference is, would he be able to survive with somebody being able to protect him and teach her how to move along and how to survive in this world and the coming war? That was the thing. So he sent someone to protect her. He sent someone that could show her the ropes, that could help her move along and move forward. And he sacrificed his life so that she would survive and that she would become the badass that she would become, and ultimately being able to train John, her son John, to become the leader of the resistance and ultimately take down Skynet. you know so Michael Biehn was a feminist in that way. He was somebody who knew, in order, the best way to help the woman in that situation was to teach her how to help herself. And I think that that was a great thing that he did. And I know usually I would read the album. I think I did that in a way, but I think we did more of a review to make more of a connection here, to do more of a substantial show if I could, and talk a little bit more about equality here. I think this is the thing about equality that I want to have people understand is that the same respect and protections and things like that, the same inclusion we want, which is what brings me to another, subject. The new campaign, the new promotion of BET, of Come Home and things like that. And, I want to give a chance. I want to, I'm not sure where I fit in, where even my son, my teenage son, where he may fit in. Not sure. I'm seeing a lot of content that's coming up that's still making me feel like it's heavy woman based. And again, I don't feel like, BET Uncut is not heavy male based. It's not, oh, you're getting what you want as a male because, you're being a female chauvinist. If you think that stuff like BET Uncut and things like this, oh, you get to see videos with women in it and checking it, so you're getting the male content that you want to get. So why not? Why can't we have stuff that, because that's you being a female chauvinist and think that's all a man wants. And so I am waiting to see how, on the equality standpoint, once again, how that plays out, how the content plays out to where a young, at the very least, I want my son to feel like he sees himself there. He belongs, that there's content that's speaking to him there. And I want him to be able to know, to know and to feel confident that that's happening for him. So I'm hoping that we can get that coming along because I think that's the most powerful, that's the most powerful unification that we can make. Race, yeah, but when men and women can unify together, like most of us do as anarchists, if we can unify together, as a whole, that would be really scary because those behind the curtain, they're unified. They're unified by bloodline. They're unified by money. They're unified by lineage. They're unified by connections. People who've known people for a long time have known that they were part of certain things. And it could be as simple as that. It could be as complicated as bloodlines, relatives, ancestry, money. People who have shown that they're willing to do certain things on a grand scale to prove themselves worthy of being a part of this group and being a part of, maintaining their interests. They're unified. They're male, they're female, they're black, white, European, Indian, they're Asian, they're Latin, they're of all types, and they're all together there, and they're plotting. And any division that could keep us distracted and keep us from questioning the truth, they're gonna keep it maintained. So gender division, race division, age division, sexual orientation division, religious division, religious versus non-religious division, patriotism versus no borders division. People who don't feel like, I need to be nasty or standoffish towards somebody who's not from, America or not from my country that I'm from. to unify in these ways will be scary for those people, because for us to unify, we're already measuring up to a lot of the power that they have. They have a power of a focus and an interest, and of a common interest that they're all going toward. If we had that same focus, that same common interest, that it would be scary to them. That's why the corporate government always uses the legal system as a way to keep that under control as best they can. Licenses, permits, and things like that they put in your way, so that for you to do things for yourself, it's such a hard way to go. And now we got all this money, and you don't have all this money to go out here and market millions, dollars, and marketing yourself, advertising and everything like that. You don't have all of that. So it's going to be so difficult for you, until you find a way. So folks, that's all I'm telling you. But let me give a few moments here, folks, because we're going to hit 420 in just a little while. And so, hell, folks, we're going to hit 420, but we're going to do the Delinquent Podcast. But it's not going to be at 420 because, as I said before, it's not always about 420. You know what I'm saying? At the very least, it's Friday. Friday has become a classic staple as far as, as far as weed goes and things like that. Those installments have become classics. And also it's a signal for the weekend. So, if you celebrate like I celebrate the weekend, then yes, it will definitely be the way that you celebrate. So with that being said, yikes. 420. And now I'm having trouble. Oh my. Where did I put it? Oh, crikey. What did I do? Oh man, oh man, oh man. It is 420. And folks, I'm having an issue here. Oh, here we go. Jeez. Sorry. But you know what, though, folks? I think what we ought to try to do is venture out into the neighborhood if we could. And how do we do that? We're going to see. Now, I know before we said we would, but then things got really busy. But we're going to see. Let's see what Zero Infinity is doing today.
Maybe more information could have gotten to be known if everybody wasn't focused on the Pizzagate. So for me, being somebody that, actually has read a lot of Scalia's opinions and stuff like that because of school, the schooling and everything, I just didn't like that the Scalia murder was covered up because everybody was focused on the Pizzagate. And what floored me was that when everybody was saying that Pizzagate was designed for this and designed for that, the one thing nobody was saying was that it was designed to cover up fucking Scalia's murder. And that was part of the WikiLeaks papers themselves. And I didn't fucking understand how everybody let that one get by them.
Hey, Zero, apologies.
So everybody has their own opinions on what happened and how it happened.
Apologies that I could not stop by before.
Yeah, you guys, we need to change the subject.
Why?
I'll send you a message about it. But yeah, I got the call. We need to change the subject on this one.
That's Gandalf.
Lauren, please delete this hangout after it's been hosted,
Sure.
after it's finished. I just got information that we need to move on into another subject. It doesn't matter, any of the ones that you guys have posted on your walls.
That doesn't mean nothing. You gotta either say why or fuck it.
Right.
25.
Yeah, for real. Fuck you and your
Yeah, that-
call, homeboy.
That's kind of weird.
James just called me and said that we're kind of moving into information that we're supposed to be getting into next month.
Next month.
Oh, yeah?
I thought I was there. I missed that.
I want to address
Wait,
something,
what?
and I don't give a fuck if Jolly's here or not. Sit to the side chat.
Strange. Yeah, let me, hear me?
I want to talk, Lauren.
Okay.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting these interruptions.
They're an echo on Lauren.
Well, no, at one point there's just no sound coming through at all. Zero. Anyhow, yeah. So what's up?
So listen, I want to address something so
Okay.
everybody hears that, and since you are the witness to it, and I do not need him to be here to defend himself because it's just a fact of what happened.
Yeah.
I want to cover it and why.
Just taking a
where
moment
this
here,
all
folks.
started, since I see
Venturing into the
people
new
already
world,
sidetracked,
into
trying
the
to chime
new
in on
neighborhood. I'm
what's
venturing
going
out
on.
and learning to trust a little bit, folks.
So I want to start with the thing is that one day, a while back, Jolly kicked OJM out of the hangout. I do not care that Jolly kicked OJM out of the hangout. That's between Jolly and OJM.
Right?
But here was the problem. When Buckman and OJM told Jolly
Lauren, I'm gonna
why
cut out. I'll be back. Sorry.
out,
Okay.
kicking him out. When Jolly said not lying, both Lauren and I both knew Jolly was lying because we were in the hangout and we could read the exact text. Jolly Roger has removed OJM number 6 from the hangout. So
Yeah, it's
that's
something that you can take a picture of.
yeah, so he didn't just lie. He continuously lied for up to 10 minutes straight. He went in the side chat, called fellow man and OJM liars when in fact they were telling the truth. But here's why I actually got upset by Jolly lying. Because then me and Lauren have to either be quiet and not say anything and then make it look like Jolly was telling the truth, which goes against my character. And he put Zero in a bad position and me because now we either have to call him out on it or it looks like we side with him. So when he decided to lie to everybody, he did not take in any consideration what that did to me or to Lauren. Only what he cared about.
Well, folks, I'm probably going to stop in and make my comments as I go along, as I try to endear myself to new people in the internet neighborhood that I dwell in as well. You know, I'm always trying to create that freewheeling neighborhood. You know, not everyone, again, folks, that's the beauty of anarchy. No one has to subscribe themselves or become a member as an anarchist. Hey, thank you for being at least one more person that I can count as a live viewer for the little bit that I was here. I just wanted to do this while I was in my 420 moment, but I will be, sitting in, listening to the show, making a few comments, and I'll probably be back up, sometime later to possibly do a delinquent podcast. I'm at that point and feature some more of 7 Days stuff. But let's just close out one more time, folks. We got to hear some more of the 7 Day stuff, folks. Of course, he is our guy. He is our commercial sponsor. He is also the creative and collaborative partner here for Delinquent Studios. So he is a big deal to me and a big deal to what we have going on here. So I want you guys to hear more of his videos, more of what he's got going on, go to 7dayisland.com. And if you're a serious artist, possibly looking for an engineer, producer, or just looking to get some beats done, purchase some great beats from, a really talented person here. 7Day Island. 7dayisland.com/beats. Do that. Let's see. What else can we give you here? Hmm, 2 minutes left. Let's check this one out. Ooh, sorry. Now, what I want to say is this, folks. Now, you kind of categorize this sort of like a, Nas, West Side Gun, Royce the 5'9" type beat. But I would also even say that right there is definitely along the lines, of what was being put out, on that A Lot track. But he's giving you that, he's giving you that nice little harmonization, that nice little beat on it, just giving you something that's a little bit smoother, a little bit more musicality with that. And I think that definitely shows you something here, folks. But we're going to get more into that, of course. Just give me a little time. But at the very least, I'm going to support, my colleague, associate here. I'm going to support and listen to the show some more and then give myself a little break and be back up here with the Delinquent Podcast soon enough. But until that time, it's a great feeling to know you're alive. It's a great feeling, the fire growing inside. The truth wakes you up. You will say, I will fight against the tyranny today. It's a great feeling, a great, great feeling that I'll be back when the day is new. I'll have more info to share with you. You'll have conspiracies you'll want to figure out. And I will too. Folks, I want to thank you so much for being here and those who will watch this in the future. As I say always, no matter what show, stay woke, stay wary. And folks, be okay with just being yourself, because no one knows what's best for your life than you. So you have to be the best you that you can be for you. Have a great one, folks. See you soon. Enjoy the weekend. Woo. Bright day out here, isn't it, folks? Let's just make sure I see what I'm doing before we get out of here. Where are you, Arrow? There we go. Almost. Jeez. Can I see where the arrow is, folks? Crikey.